Yohanan, I do want to ask you, because this has been a topic of discussion here over the past several days, is essentially an attack on Israel by Iran is quote unquote imminent. That's what's been said by folks all across Israel. We've heard it from U.S. officials as well. My question for you overall is, why are some saying that it could actually be Hezbollah, the terror group there in Lebanon, that is going to launch a major attack against Israel before Iran even does? Isn't Hezbollah a proxy of Iran?
Well, you're absolutely right. So it's a tactical question, who attacks first or second, or whether it's simultaneous. There's a direct reporting line, not a dotted reporting line, a direct reporting line between Nasrallah, leader of Hezbollah, and the Iranian regime. He's funded by them, he's financed, they supply him with doctrine, with support, with diplomatic cover. He's not going to initiate anything significant without explicit Iranian consent. Now, at the same time, Iran is playing its cards, I would say, very wisely, and they don't necessarily want a direct confrontation with Israel or with the United States, now that they see that the United States is more adamant in protecting the interests of the free world. So sometimes it would be easier to allow the Hezbollah proxy to intensify its attack against Israel rather than Iranian signs and signals being written all over the attack. So yeah, they're planning to send Hezbollah forward. They have some hesitations because clearly if Hezbollah will intensify its attack against Israel, Lebanon and Lebanese people, including innocent Lebanese, will be in the middle of the fire, will pay a dear price. And it's not because he cares about them, but Nasrallah cares about his own political posture within Lebanon that causes him to think twice about how to attack Israel without paying too dear a political price within Lebanon.
One topic that's being discussed by Israeli media right now is that Hamas's new leader, Yahya Sinwar, has actually urged different members of Hamas, different leaders outside of Gaza, to come up quickly with a ceasefire deal and accept it. Again, that is information that is coming in from Israeli media. My question, what would be the motivation there for Sinwar to want a ceasefire deal?
Well, it's a good question. First of all, Sinwar is the new number one political leader, or the leader of the Hamas political wing, but he's a de facto decision maker, for a number of years. He leads the Hamas in Gaza, and basically he calls the shots and called the shots also beforehand. But right now, this new change that puts Sinwar as head of both Hamas outside of Gaza and Hamas in Gaza is basically throwing away all the masks. Clearly now we know that Hamas is a jihadist, extremely extreme organization. So we cannot suspect Sinwar for being moderate or pragmatic in any way. At the same time, so why is he nevertheless asking for or seeking some kind of a deal? Because he wants to stay alive. Israel killed basically the vast majority of political and the military or terror leaders that were responsible for perpetrating the attacks and massacres of October 7th. And clearly Yahya Sinwar is next in line, and he wants to preserve his position of power. So it's only as a result of military pressure, intense military pressure, that he wants to now minimize his losses. He thinks that he achieved enough by killing enough Israelis on October 7th, and now he wants to secure his gains. So this is his interest.
And another report there, actually part of the same report by Israeli media, does say that Sinwar doesn't necessarily have the best relationship with Iran overall. Why might that be the case?
Well, if we spoke about Hezbollah beforehand as having, I would say, a direct reporting line between Hezbollah and Iran, it's literally an Iranian proxy with the local Lebanese interests. With Hamas, the relationship is somewhat more complex. On the one hand, of course, they depend on Iranian support of ammunition, missiles, doctrine, diplomacy, funding, and so on. At the same time, Hamas is historically keeping some degree of independence. Hamas is a Sunni group belonging to the Muslim Brotherhood. Iran is of the Shiite Muslim, I would say, ideology. So their interests are not one and the same. And in the past, the Iranians and Yahya Sinwar, Hamas leader, had their differences. So again, while they're coordinated and have a similar interest, they also have their own different shades and preferences. And this explains some of what we're seeing right now.
And I do want to ask you just a couple more things before I let you go here. Obviously, there are so many developments and there's so much to discuss. But one other topic that I've heard discussed a lot, the mayor of Haifa urging residents to prepare to spend, quote, 4 to 6 days in a shelter or some kind of safe area if Hezbollah does launch a major attack. So for those who aren't necessarily familiar with the makeup of Israel, how it looks, all of that, are there shelters that are located, safe areas in each home?
Well, yeah, part of the conclusions of the first Gulf War back in 1990, 1991 was we realized that Israel is subject to a threat of missiles from some of our neighboring countries. And since then, any new construction by regulation requires a safe room within every home. And some of the old homes were renovated in order to include, there were incentives to include safe homes. So a significant portion of homes in Israel have a safe room which can protect its residents from a missile attack. And we all have applications and other measures of communication that let us know if there's an attack and how many seconds we have until we enter in the safe room and shut the door. So Israel has actually very much improved its preparedness, not only in the level of having a multi-layer of anti-ballistic missiles and anti-missile systems like Arrow, Iron Dome, and so on. But we also have a pretty sophisticated system of notifying our civilians and giving them sufficient notification for them to enter into safe rooms. At the same time, we have to take into account Hezbollah. If it chooses to attack civilian Israel, will pay a very, very dear price. Israel will respond very forcefully in order to uproot Hamas capabilities. Unfortunately, there will be civilian casualties on the other side. We have to say it up front because Hamas, by design, its entire strategy and tactics are to situate its capabilities within the civilian population, in villages, in mosques, in homes, in clinics, in hospitals, in Lebanon. So if Hezbollah chooses to attack Israel, there will be many civilian casualties, unfortunately, on both sides, also in Israel, because not all Israelis have safe rooms, and Hamas has an ability to inflict Hezbollah, damage on the north of Israel in places like Haifa and the small suburbs next to Haifa. And since Haifa is a relatively old city, many of the buildings there don't have safe rooms. So, I mean, it's not going to be pleasant if Iran and Hamas choose to go on that confrontational path. Obviously, they'll pay a more dear price.
All right, Yohanan Plesner, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here and break down some of the latest developments there out of the Middle East. Anything else you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
Well, thank you. And, we can go on and on. Unfortunately, it's very complex. But the one important thing is that the U.S.-Israel alliance is an axis that will make sure that the good forces in this region will overcome.
Thank you again for being here with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.